Welcome back to Midnight Viewing, where this season we're taking a look at George Romero's 1980s television series, Tales from the Darkside. Sharing the Midnight View with me are the Culturecast Chris Stachiw.
Forsooth, I say, you are a witch!
And the Projection Booth's Mike White.
Don't have a Cutty Black Sow, man.
Tonight we're taking a look at the next two episodes of Season 4, the final season of Tales from the Darkside. Those are The Apprentice and the Cutty Black Sow. The Apprentice, Season 4, Episode 13, originally aired on May the 1st, 1988, written by Ellen Sandhouse, directed by Eleanor Gaver, starring Haviland Morris, Marla Bloodstone from Gremlins 2, Wayne Tippett, Catherine Newman, and Gary Lottie, who I sat watching this episode staring at him the whole time and going, what the fuck do I know him from? Oh, Night Riders, George Romero's film Night Riders. This is the story of a young woman who takes a job at a colonial reenactment village, and she really commits to the job. What'd you think of this one, Mike?
Wow, I could see everything coming before it happened. As soon as she walked in the door, I knew exactly what was going to take place. Yeah, this was rough. Have we seen this before? Or is this just that obvious that I knew, oh, okay, yeah, here's this dude going to lure in a person. Somehow she's going to go back in time and get stuck in this village. I thought maybe they might have one day of normalcy where it's tourists coming in and making her feel bad. And, you know, what was that book that, Chuck Palahniuk wrote? The one about this.
Where they're working on the reenactment thing.
Yeah,
was it
the one with the sex addict. Yes,
choke, yeah.
I was like, okay, this will be cool. You know, show me a day of a reenactor and stuff. No, we have to jump right into she's back in time now. And yeah, all I could do while I was watching our main actress was thinking about her having her hair caught in a door and having somebody cut it off the entire time. And then Wayne Tippett, he plays a bastard really well. And so at least he brought that energy to this, and I was pretty okay with him. But God, I mean, medieval stuff, not medieval, but you know, this like era of American history. And everything is, oh, you're a witch. Oh, she pricked you and you didn't feel it. And now I'm going to accuse you of witchcraft and all this stuff. So, oh my God, it gets so old so fast. Yeah, in other words, I wasn't a big fan of this episode. And spoilers for the next episode, not a fan of that one either. We got all kinds of witchcraft going on in this episode, and none of it is making me feel good. So, Chris, how about yourself?
Oh, it is, in fact, witchcraft, folks. It's witchcraft. Good Lord. Yeah, this is about as obvious another one of these, just like, we know where you're going from a mile away. And hey, let's punish the feminist, folks. Nothing says 1988 like putting a woman in her place. Am I right? My God. I love the idea that she's just like this strong, independent woman who gets burned at the stake at the end. Ha 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 ha. Hilarious. I will say I love how mean the episode is. I don't think anything that happens to Sarah McBride, Haviland Morris's character, is remotely justified. She's horny, I guess, is kind of the way she's written, which is like fine because she's like a college student. So, okay, she's horny and she's looking at guys and finding men attractive. And this is just some like bullshit summer job. Okay, why does she need to be punished and put to death? Again, like, holy shit, episode. We're just, as Ron Burgundy said, that escalated quickly, and it did. It's a fucking Blackout sketch, really. Oh, what would happen if the feminists went back in time to Salem witch trial and she was burned at the stake? Okay. Funny. It would have been funnier if she had deserved it. It just kind of feels really mean, which is, again, Tales from the Darkside, but this show hasn't done that in such a long time that it almost feels a little unearned. However, I will say, to spoil the next episode is even funnier. Regard. So, I don't know. Maybe its mean streak is back. Father Malone, what did you think?
In a cage for every unclean and hateful bird of prey. That's what I think of this episode. I don't know. He quoted that for no good reason. I do think if this was like a first-person short story about somebody getting a job at a colonial reenacting and then feeling dizzy and waking up and not realizing for some time that their job is actually now the time and place that they think that they're reenacting, that could be interesting. But this feels like all the other Tales from the Darkside episodes where they deal with like time travel or a portal to another dimension or something.
Sideways universe.
It always feels like there's an additional 30 to 40 minutes of story that we are not privy to. And it's just rushing us through plot points to get us to other places, but it's all so convoluted. And anytime you start dealing with people from our present going to the past, look, this is like 200, 300 years she travels back. Anything that came out of her mouth, people would be like, she's a witch. Right. Just the vocal patterns alone. And how they're speaking, they don't even make the wherefore art thou sort of attempt with the dialogue here. I do like the idea of witches in Salem Village just being time travelers from the 20th century. There's another good idea, but they're not interested in that. I don't know what they're interested in. Like you said, Chris, is it just the punishing feminists? Like this is how you would fare back then? Because that's the problem, is that she starts mouthing off, you don't gotta listen to this guy. Fuck him. Fuck her. What? By the way, as soon as she has one conversation with that girl, she would have known where she was. I mean, right. This girl's... there isn't even an attempt to have, okay, quit fucking the method acting and fucking speak to me. Like, where are you from? What town are you from? What kind of car do you drive? There's no conversation at all like that. I don't know. It's very poor. Very poor.
Yeah, I thought for sure we were going to get some sort of, because he makes very clear, get rid of everything modern. She keeps the cigarette lighter. That plays badly for her. I thought we were going to get some sort of somewhere in time scenario where she would have a penny with the current year on it, and then boom, she wakes up in the current year. Something. But instead, we do get that moment I was talking about as far as, let's see how shitty it is to work in one of these reenactment places. But it just doesn't pay off. I mean, it's the girl from the past coming in and having these morons coming in and taking pictures of her and stuff. Again, it should have played out for a longer time. It feels like this episode was so weird when it comes to how long they're going to spend on each thing. And I really thought that was the moment where it was like, okay, this is great. Let's see her now, because the other girl's dead or going to be burned at the stake. Now let's see the horrible fate of this other girl. If we're going to go bad and fuck you to all of our protagonists here, let's go ahead. Let's do it. Let's make her life a living hell in the 20th century.
Exactly. And they want both of their characters to be in hell. I guess the idea is that a modern woman in ancient times would be considered a witch and end up trapped, and a time-traveling elder woman would also be equally trapped, but in a different way, because they don't even consider how fucked this woman's life is now. This woman from 1692 who doesn't speak our language. She doesn't have a driver's license, social security card. Like, she's working at this job. Who knows? Like, what is even happening? Who's hiring her? Her dad is stuck in the past because he destroyed the amazing time machine of the wagon wheel affixed to a wall. Apparently, that's how easy it is to create. Doc Brown had it all wrong, man, using fucking plutonium.
So I have a question. Is that guy from the past?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Move back and forth?
Or is he from the future? And he's like, here's the way I would write this. You have a guy in the current day who finds a way to go to the past. And his whole thing is he's a foolproof way to kill women that he doesn't like, in this case feminists, by just sending them back in time to get them killed because they think that they're witches. Because, like you said, Father Malone, they're mouthing off. And so you have this, and again, like these, you put it so aptly, Father Malone. I've said this so many times. If there was someone from 100 years ago, that's 100 years ago, dropped into modern day Times Square today, they would die. Their brain would fucking explode because there would be so many things you'd have to explain to them that we take for granted. Like, what we're doing right now is to try and explain this to someone who has no ability to even understand what a computer is would be like, oh, but you're not in the same room as someone. Like, it's really fucked, because the thing that this episode doesn't do is it doesn't contextualize why he's doing what he's doing. And that would have been the most interesting thing of this entire episode, is this guy from the past or the future, or the current or the past, has figured out a way to go back in time or go to the future. And this is what he's choosing to do with it. Why? That question is never answered. And that's the most interesting question that is never answered. And it's the thing that drives this entire goddamn episode.
That's what I'm saying. Like the other episodes that came before this, it feels like there's more plot going on either before or after the episode begins or ends. And all of that is more tantalizing than the story we got.
Yeah, well, and that exactly. It is what we get on screen is just kind of nothing, really. Ultimately, it doesn't feel like much of anything. It just feels every one of these things we've seen before where someone gets trapped in the past from the future or the present day, I guess. That's every single one of these has been the same goddamn thing every time. Every time. And where are the stakes there?
The guy is from the past because he describes the situation that they were sort of desperate, and then their situation improved once he started feeding them witches.
Scapegoat.
So that means this man from 1692 has a machine that allows him to travel to the 20th century, the late 20th century. And what he chooses to do is continue to go back. Why? What the fuck are you talking about? Go back. Gather as much fucking gold as you can. I bet you can get a lot compared to what we have now. And then come back through and be a fucking billionaire. What are you doing? What's anyone... The problem with most time traveling things is that it is so limited in its thought and what you could potentially do. I mean, if you want to be a criminal, you could really be a criminal with a time machine. You know, if you wanted to do good things, you could really do good things. So, but nobody ever thinks beyond, I don't know, whatever little point they're trying to make. The idea of a serial killer using a time machine is fucking also awesome, Chris. Oh. Like, there are so many potential like good things here, and all of it is squandered, including all of these people.
The body disappears permanently and nobody ever has to worry about it. Like,
I guess that's the Looper, right? That's the same. That's the plot of Looper.
Well, Looper is
time after time.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, it's more time after, but nobody's done it since. Like, it is such a, because here's the thing, like, you just take the body and dump it wherever the fuck in the middle of the desert, and there you go. Like, it doesn't even matter. But the idea that, yeah, this guy is just using it to do this is so, like, mind-numbing.
Let's say he's this guy from the past, and he has convinced the community that he can suss out witches, right? At a certain point, aren't the rest of the villagers going to go, we've noticed that all of the witches are coming out of your house. I think maybe we ought to try you, sir. Because let's face it, men were not above witchcraft accusations and trials. There were plenty of men put to death too.
I mean, one of them is see if he weighs as much as a duck, and if he does, he's a witch.
You know what they would actually do in Salem? They would press him, quote unquote, right. Where they stack stones on you to get you to confess, and eventually, there's a famous man,
male witch, yeah.
The most famous was his last words were "more weight." He was just like, "Fuck you, add more weight before I confess to being a minion of Satan."
That story already that you just told in the most basic 3 fucking words, 3 sentences was better than this entire episode.
And
because you beat me. And yeah, no, you beat me to it. That's when I thought the episode was going where it was going towards the end. I was like, oh, was Sarah McBride a real person at Salem and that's what they were doing? Oh, that would have been kind of clever. Nope. That wasn't even it. Like that. And I would have given the episode a little bit of credit if they had done that. To just tie it in to be like, oh, one of the real people at Salem actually, that was, oh, okay, that's kind of fun. Nope, they couldn't even be bothered to do that little bit of research. Come on.
Like, remember when they did this on Twilight Zone 85 with James Cromwell? They did a time travel episode, or a sort of brain transference through time episode, and that was pretty good. They actually went out on location and gave us some pilgrim. I mean, it was California, but at least they gave us some geography. Here we're trapped in this really poor set. Clearly that doesn't seem to age at all. I mean, dirtying up one painting does not equal 300 years of progress.
Why is the painting clean? Okay, yeah.
That's what she noticed.
Yeah.
Not the dirt everywhere.
I say.
Not the bugs crawling everywhere. Not the fucking odor coming off of everyone around her.
Not the lack of noise.
The lack of noise. How about the amount of oxygen in the air? Like her lungs suddenly fucking screaming because it's gotten more than it has ever received in its entire life.
Time travel for me is always so lazy because the things that are ignored are the things that could be interesting and just nobody cares because it's, if you had somebody from the past travel to the future, of course they would understand immediately. Like, no, they would not. Their brain would explode inside of their head. Their eyes would roll into the back of their head and they'd be dead because they wouldn't even understand a cell phone. Fire from your hand, magic fire. That's a lighter. Can you imagine trying to explain simple circuits to these fucking morons, let alone like how a fucking lighter works? No. It's so lazy. I hate this kind of shit, especially when it's decent short form narratives. Even this is where the dodges and cheats really happen.
You got to get a Ron Silver and go back in time and like trade stocks and do all that kind of stuff. As long as Jean-Claude Van Damme doesn't get wind of it, you are on easy street, my friend.
Jean-Claude Van Damme will always get wind of it.
Oh, no.
He is a time cop, after all.
That's true.
He's got all the time in the world.
If I had a time machine, I would be such a fucking so banal. I would just go make money. Just make money. Like, why would I go give a shit about anything else? Like, not anything that any one of us could do with a time machine to stop anything that's happened up to this point, I feel like. So no matter how many good decisions I could go and make, just make some money and try to insulate myself from all the bad things that are happening. But, or, you know, just get women to die in Salem at the cross because they're witches. That's funnier, right?
My favorite recent time travel thing, and by recent I mean a decade ago, Liam Lynch, the comedian, the director of Tenacious D's Pick of Destiny, he has his own web series, and he has a segment called Time Taggers, which is just this idiot tagger who goes back in time and tags things. Like, so he goes back, oh, check out this medieval wall, bro. I'm gonna fucking tag that shit. And then he does, and then he gets back into the time machine.
Yeah, what would happen if an idiot had a time machine? I don't really care about what would happen if a smart person had a time machine. What happened if a moron had
a total dunce? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Like, yeah.
It's like that character from The Good Place. Imagine him with a time machine. He would just be
Jason.
so... Oh, God. Can you imagine Jason with the time machine?
Yes, I want to see that series, actually.
I think that would be a good spinoff.
Yeah, I just give me Dexter with a time machine and we're good. Going back and, you know, I mean,
Why not?
That show's jumped the shark at this point. Who fucking cares?
I liked this latest season.
I'm not saying it was bad,
much.
but you know what I mean. We've gone around the bend to this point where it's like Simpsons postmodern, where we're just like, we don't even care about reality anymore.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
the show should have not cared about reality after season 2 with that fucking serial killer conceit. They should have been having a blast a long time ago.
Yeah, and you know what? Like a time-killing serial killer, I think that is a thing that we have yet to really see. And this has that idea. It's that nugget in it, and that's for me. It should have been more interesting than it is. But a wagon wheel on a wall is not. That's not doing it for me. No, sorry.
The Cutty Black Sow, Season 4, Episode 14. This aired originally on May the 8th, 1988. Written by Michael McDowell from a story by Thomas Monteleone and directed by Richard Glass. This one stars Huckleberry Fox, not kidding, Paula Truman, Timothy Landfield, and Mary Griffin as Gloria. That's the little sister. When a young boy's great-grandmother dies on Halloween, he's tasked with saving the souls of his family before an ancient legend can snatch him away. I'll take the lead on this one because it sounds like you two are ready to beat up on it, and I fucking love this one. Okay, this is as old a ghost story as I've ever heard, and I've heard variations of this growing up. So this is not unknown to me, this story of the Cutty Black Sow. The story that we're given here is this great-grandmother is on her deathbed. By the way, don't bring your children to great-grandma's deathbed, because if the child is just going to say, is she really going to die? Over and over again, that's probably not good for her mental health as she's slowly passing away. Anyway, so the setup is that great-grandma is dying and is going to die on Halloween, and it is revealed that from her Scottish heritage, that if that were to occur, that everyone in the family's soul is at risk because the Cutty Black Sow will be on the way to grab some souls. And the only way to prevent that is to have a rock that represents each of your family members' souls. You keep that in a fire. As long as they stay in that fire, they'll be okay. This is a real myth from the UK. Okay. Michael McDowell, who is obviously of Scottish descent, has said it as a Scottish myth. I don't know why, because this whole thing is Welsh as Welsh can be. This is actually Nos Calan Ga, which is the Welsh equivalent of Halloween. It takes place on November the 1st, which is the first day of winter. And the Cutty Black Sow is, leave it to the Welsh to actually personify those demonic forces, because in Ireland, where All Hallows Eve actually originates from, it's just spirits might get you. Here, it's one spirit's coming for you. So they created the original Michael Myers in Wales with this character. I liked how simple this story was. I liked how well written each of the characters were. This is Michael McDowell, obviously, working here. I liked that the fact that the kids, when dealing with one another, felt like children. Obviously, Huckleberry Fox, I don't know why we didn't see more and more and more of him. The kid is preternatural. We're so used to precocious, thanks to fucking so many years of Night Gallery, that anytime I see a child performer who doesn't suck completely and actually seems not precocious, but with it, like this kid did, oh my God, he's fucking, again, I don't know why he didn't do more and more stuff. And including Mary Griffin as his little sister, because she's just as good as him. I liked
He became a diplomat to the United States Department of Agriculture. That's why.
Huckleberry Fox?
Yeah. He became
Holy
like
cow.
a government dude. Like he had a master's in animal science and shit and a PhD in plant medicine. He was a smart guy. So he was probably good at acting, but probably good at a lot of other things. And by the way, passed away last year at the age of 50.
Wow.
Wow, that's so
smart dude. That's why. So to give you an answer immediately, there's why.
I like the simplicity of this story, and this might be just me relating more than y'all, but there's something about the connection as like a grandchild or a great grandchild in some cases, and that relative that doesn't sort of exist between the parents and them. I don't know. There's something special about it. And the fact that it turns into this quest for this kid and he takes it so seriously, and spoilers, this is as Tales from the Dark Side as you can get as far as an ending goes. He does everything right. And for his troubles, when it's revealed that he's the soul that fell out of the fire and there's a bang on the window, actually jumped. I've seen this episode a dozen times, actually jumped. The creature at the end is wonderful. It is, unlike most Darkside, where they're just relying on the effect because the effect is great, they shoot this really sort of murkily and it comes off as very scary. When it stands up and opens its mouth, fucking freak me out. Anyway, that was my take on it. How about you, Chris?
I am so glad that somebody repurposed the monster from Ernest Scared Stupid into something else, because that is what the creature at the end of this episode looks like, is the troll from Trantor. It has that same like weird pig nose thing. So I don't think it was inspired by this at all, but it's that same weird like pig porcine face and that character design in that movie. So it like really reminded me of that. It is scary. I will give you that. Like, I think it's a very atmospheric episode. I can't help but wonder if I would have enjoyed it more if this had been the first time I'd seen something like this, but because I've seen so many of these now, it does feel a little old hat, but it does feel feels better executed than the other ones have been. It reminds me of some of the other episodes like this that we've seen where it's two kids at home or a kid at home by himself being tormented and plagued by something. And I mean, again, you're trafficking in a kid at home by himself or themselves. And that's, scary enough as it is. And then you have the possibility of there being this demonic pig woman that walks on her fucking rear legs, which is scary. Like, beyond scary, really. Like, you don't have to sell me on that being scary episode. Like, I get it. I don't know. I guess I'm just a little worn down by these kinds of episodes, and pairing it up with something like The Apprentice, which feels very thematically similar, and I wasn't jiving with that episode. It probably didn't help it, but I didn't actually dislike this episode. I just it was fine. It was fine. It just maybe took a little long to get where it was going. Mike, what did you think?
Not a fan. I'm glad that you explained the mythos of this, because I just kept going, what is he doing with these stones and the fire? And he just kept saying the same stuff over and over again. I was just like, I'm not connecting with what he's supposed to be doing. And I don't get this myth. I've never heard of this myth before. So I'm just like, something stones. Okay, he's got a little sister. Is she going to get eaten? Our parents not going to believe him. No, they're not going to believe him. And I don't know. I just kept thinking back to was that the first season of this show, or was it even? Yeah, I think it was the first season of this, or maybe it was Twilight Zone 85 with the grandma story from Stephen King. That I felt was a lot scarier, because the grandma in that was scary rather than dead.
That is what this reminded me of. It did have grandma in its DNA for sure.
This actually reminded me more of Trick or Treat, the very first episode of the season here. This felt to me like what they were trying to shoot for the entire series, because the look of this one is great. It doesn't feel like a set at all. I've always said Tales from Darkside feels the best when it feels like a short film. This felt like a short film. Didn't feel like they were on some sound stage somewhere just banging this out. It seemed like there was care taken with the shots and the setups and everything. It's a lot of mythology just sort of cram in here. And again, this is just a fucking quibble, but why, Michael McDowell, did you suddenly decide it was Scotland? I talked to my friend in Wales today, and she was like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's just Gaelic nonsense. No matter where you go, there's always some variation on it, so don't sweat it too much. But at the same time, like they got a bagpipe lament going on here at one point. In between, I was like, why are you so focused on that? Anyway, why am I so focused on it?
Well, no, let's break it down for a second, though, to be fair. The Cutty Black Sow is not something that if you even go and Google it, you're going to get a whole lot of information about. And so if you're going to go out of your way, and this is something I realize in doing Scary Stories We Tell, if you're going to go out of your way to pick something specific like this, why not do it the justice that it deserves? Because there are very few things about the Cutty Black Sow out there, which is a Gaelic thing that is not being correctly interpreted in this episode. But they went out of their way to mention it. They could have said anything else.
They couldn't have said nothing. But
Right,
he's
exactly.
like, oh, and the only reason we know it, other than the fact that fucking bagpipes are playing every 10 seconds, is that the grandmother keeps referring to Halloween as All Hallows Even, which is, the original. By the way, remember when that was unknown to people? Like in the 80s, if you said All Hallows Even, they'd be like, oh, really? That's the actual word it comes from? Interesting. Anyway.
We take for granted the ability to Google shit now. Like,
I know.
We really do.
So she says All Hallows Even, and they're like, what? And the husband's like, oh, that's how they used to say it in Scotland. I'm like, oh, okay, so now we're dealing with a Scottish myth. Gotcha.
Why do you think when we have an episode like this, why do you think the kid had to die at the end is my question. I'm so curious. Like, is it just Tales from the Dark Side being Tales from the Dark Side? Okay, cool. Because I appreciate this show so much for that, because Tales from the Crypt didn't even do that. Yeah, and that was a show that was on fucking HBO. Yeah. I appreciate the means. Like, I know that the last episode was also rather mean-spirited, but this one really goes for it. And I appreciate that about it, because this is supposed to be, a fairy tale or cautionary tale for children. I mean, they're telling the story. There's some meta-ness to the story, right? Because they're telling the story about the Cutty Black Sow, but the story that we are seeing could be told to a child about the Cutty Black Sow, about this kid and his interaction with it. And the way that it ends is that cautionary tale of, be careful in meddling in things you don't understand. But he's learning about it within the story. So there's some meta-ness to what we're seeing. But I love that this show just refuses to pull punches when it comes to kids in this show, and like preteens and young adults, and like the main characters who do everything they can to the best of their ability, still failing. I appreciate that this show goes there, because a lot of these anthology shows don't go the full distance, and I don't know why. Like, there's no reason not to.
You could say that on Night Gallery, they weren't going to kill a kid. I think Rod probably would put an end to that sort of nonsense. And Tales from the Crypt really very rarely had children at the center. Like, I can think of 3 basically off the top of my head, and those might be the only 3 that exist on Tales from the Crypt. But here on Darkside, man, the kids are literally on the menu.
Yeah, all the time.
Yes,
all the time.
yes.
That fucking teddy bear that kills the kid.
Oh, yeah.
The giant goddamn teddy bear that busts through the door, that kills the mom and kid. There's another episode that ends similarly to this one, isn't there? Where it's just like the shot of essentially the monster just like looming over the kid in first person. Like, there's another episode of the show.
Well, there would be Seasons of Belief with the Grither, which ends up fucking killing the parents and then just leaving the kids sitting there with their dead parents at Christmas time.
Oh, right.
Michael McDowell.
Right, breaking the parents' necks.
Yeah.
With his giant, horrifying hands.
Hands as big as basketballs.
Still a strange size comparative, but all right. What a great name is Huckleberry Fox, by the way.
Fucking A, man.
Really?
I know.
Yeah.
My parents dropped the ball.
So when he introduces himself to people, does he go, "I'm your Huckleberry"?
I bet he has.
Oh, I bet.
George Miller Fox was his birth name.
Oh, so Huckleberry's just a stage name?
It's his nickname, maybe.
Boo.
Hey,
I take away
hey,
all
Father
of my
Malone.
praise.
Hey, Father Malone.
Come on now. It's all showbiz.
That's right. The Cutty
But you know
Black
what?
Sow.
Look, my name is never going to be Father as my first name. His name potentially could have been Huckleberry, which would have been cool.
Well, that's what he was billed in this episode as.
Well,
I
I'll
do
just
want to.
consider thinking him as Huckleberry.
I do want to ask you guys because you mentioned it in the opening of this, Father Malone, and it got me thinking. What in God's name were these parents thinking, bringing their kids to the bedside of this grandmother? That is the most, the Cutty Black Sow is disturbing, obviously. Like, the practical effect is very, it's weird and it's gross and it's creepy, and the way that they shoot it with the eyes, it's great. But the real horrifying part of this episode are these kids next to the bed of the dying grandmother. And she's just like, I'm dying, oh, I'm dying. What the fuck were you thinking?
Well, look.
What were you thinking?
First of all, they do send the kids away before she dies, and
oh, wow. Thank God for
and
that.
they gather them there to say goodbye to her, and is what the idea was. But they get so caught up in exposition at that moment that you don't really get that sort of tender moment. And really, the whole scene is just about the grandson and the great grandson and great grandmother. In fact, I'm not sure why they even had the rest of the family there. He should have snuck into her room or something.
Yeah, I don't understand either.
Other than to father to give exposition, which is what we got.
Right. Well, hey, there's only 23 minutes, so.
I will say this, and one of the reasons that I do like this one in particular, and why the ending resonates, and maybe it's not just a Darkside thing here, because with most sort of Celtic myths, or not myths, but fables, there is a level of inevitability to them. That once the sort of die has been cast, there is no redemption from it. There comes a part in most of these stories where once a character has been cursed, that's it. And we're just waiting out the clock. There's no ultimate last minute win for these things. And knowing that this was a Celtic myth to begin with, as soon as that stone turned over, I was like, oh man, that's perfect. Not that I can't wait to watch a kid die or something, but I can't wait to see how this plays out. And what's great is even with the sort of acceptance and the inevitability of it, it's still a horrifying end.
Even that he dies, we're not even sure that he dies.
No, it is there for its soul, stolen. But really, it's going to run away with you.
Oh yeah.
Again, who knows what the fate of someone whose soul is stolen in this universe is? You know what I mean? That's, I don't know what that means, but that could be potentially worse. Just comatized for the rest of your life. It's that cautionary tale of the fate is awful, and you don't even want to comprehend what it is. So maybe it's better just to die. Maybe it's better that the thing just fucking kills me.
Yeah, I don't want to know what a 6-foot black pig walking upright with glowing red eyes wants of me.
With soul stealing ability.
I'm really serious. Is this curious, not serious. I'm very curious. Is this where one of the antagonists from that horrific Hellboy remake came from? Because there was a Scottish sounding pig man in that movie. And so while I was watching the end of this, I was just like, oh, it's that guy from the Hellboy, whatever, 2014.
Golden Army.
The Crooked Man?
No, you guys are missing the one with David Harbour.
That one.
That Hellboy.
The one with the Baba Yaga. Yeah.
I'd have to rewatch, but if it's a sow at all, then it could be.
Mike, you beat me to it. No, you really. I don't think you have to. I will. You know what though? I'll take that back. I actually watched that movie and it wasn't terrible, but I did watch that other one beforehand, the newer one, and that one is
pretty bad.
That one has a giant CGI
Crooked Man
spider in it.
Crooked Man was so bad. I mean, that makes the David Harbour one look like an Oscar contender.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Really?
Yeah, I like Crooked Man. I like Crooked Man.
Really?
Yeah,
it felt so cheap.
It did look really cheap, but it felt like a television episode is what it felt like. But it felt to me like just a really good one-off of a BPRD comic. That's all.
That's fair. Yeah, I can get behind that. I think that, I don't know, Mike, you may be onto something with that being from that Hellboy movie. Cutty Black Sow, just like when you Google it, it's this and one or two other things and very little else. And so to your point from before, Father Malone, get it right if you're going to do it at all. Don't do Loveland Frog and then not mention Loveland. If you're going to do the thing, there are some cryptids that you can get away with, like Bigfoot, but something
We're here in Wisconsin looking for the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, like what the actual fuck are you talking about? It reminds me a little bit of the misinterpretation of the Deal with the Devil episode from the last episode, where it's like, what Why are you going to go through all this effort and not land the plane, put the landing gear down, folks? Like, we're 99% of the way there. Don't do this. You had intent, could have done anything else, and you chose this, so why not commit to it completely?
All right. On the next episode of Midnight Viewing, we'll be taking a look at the next 2 episodes of season 4. Those are Do Not Open This Box and Family Reunion. Midnight Viewing, the horror anthology podcast, is a proud member of Weirding Way Media, and the theme song was composed by HP with an assist by Donald Rubenstein. Until next time, what are you working on? Where can people find it, Chris Stachiw?
Everything that I work on, including this show, can be found at weirdingwaymedia.com, where I put the weekly podcast with the Culturecast, which is a show that I'm finally doing weekly once again after being on a hiatus for a long time. So I'm back doing that. But more importantly, head on over to patreon.com/Father Malone, because Father Malone is doing 2 episodes a week, which is a lot. And I'm not doing that. So if you're going to support someone financially who's busting their ass right now, specifically Father Malone, but support Father Malone, support Mike over at his Patreon at patreon.com/projection booth, or mine at patreon.com/culturecast. All places you can go to help us out financially, but like, rate, and review anything that you listen to, regardless of who does it, on iTunes, because that's where you can help any one of us out. So I don't know how many bases I covered, but I feel like a lot of them. So kick it to you, Mike. What about you?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, as for me, you're listening to the show I do. Tune in on Mondays to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup, where I look at the latest in streaming and theatrical releases. And every Friday, you're either going to hear us talking about one of these anthology series, or you're going to hear one of our fests. Right now, we're involved in Moranis Fest, looking at the movies of Rick Moranis, and the Books of Blood Fest. We're looking at all the movies based on the Books of Blood from Clive Barker. Until next time, everybody, try to enjoy the daylight.